Week that Nelda Laney, the wife of former Texas House Speaker Pete Laney and First Lady of West Texas, passed away. Ms. Laney led many of the renovation projects at the state capitol in the late 90s through specifically designed Christmas ornaments. The proceeds from sale of those ornaments helped pay for that and then helped raise money for the Keep Texas Beautiful organization. Ms. Laney was a native of Plainview, attended Texas Tech, also served on the Tech Alumni Association National Board of Directors. Her funeral will be Saturday at 2 p.m. at First United Methodist here in Lubbock. She was 73 years old. And our friend Jay Leeson with the West Texas Drive on AM 580 is here. I know you've been close with that family and Nelda and Pete for a lot of years. Tell folks who may not know why so many consider her a treasure in this part of the country.
Well, I'm a Hale County guy. I grew up in Hale County and did a lot of time in the Hale Center. My grandmother and my great-grandmother and dad farmed. I think this is, since I was just a little kid, whenever we saw Nelda always out and about, the hospital, supermarkets, church. I remember since I was just a little boy, my grandmother, she'd always say, "There's Miss Nelda," always doing something for somebody. And you know, that was in the early 80s. And you know, you mentioned she was a prolific fundraiser, but she gave of herself. And Hale County knew that in the early 80s, well, from the time I was young and preceding me. But as he gained stature in the state began to understand just what this woman was. And I consider Pete Laney a Texas giant.
Yeah.
But I think those of us who know them well know that she was just as much a giant. And he grew in stature because she was right there beside him.
And of course, our best to Pete and the kids with all this here happening. You've got a column in the Avalanche Journal this week talking about this concept of again in national politics. Now, talk about what that is and what that's about and where that idea came from.
Well, I think the most compelling, you just did a segment about the election with Trump and with Clinton. The word, if this election come down to one word, it's again. Over and over again you hear that word. We'll bring jobs here again. We'll bring the middle class back again. We'll make America great again. Non-viable candidates even say we'll make America sane again. So that whenever you listen to a candidate's position, the substance isn't in the policy, but the appeal to the past. And I think it speaks to, I think I've shared this with you before, but I'm dead set on it. There's a cultural loss in this country. Just think the last 5 years. Think about how much culture's changed with Orlando, Dallas, Black Lives Matter, whichever bathrooms. There are a lot of people who say our freedoms are being taken away or being accommodated with things that we don't agree with. On the other side, you've got an economic loss that the country's incurred. You've shared before on this program, and I think it's the most salient fact for us to look at. Household incomes over the last 20 years have gone down $4,000.
Yeah.
A white woman without a high school education over the last 20 years has lost 5 years of life expectancy. There's an economic globalization, the steel belt, the rust belt, and now we look at the cotton belt. Yeah. Where little towns can be decimated overnight by a World Trade Organization decision.
And candidates then go back and appeal to what was and what could have come from all of this. Quickly, because we don't have a lot of time left. With all that in mind, we mentioned earlier Trump and the softening of immigration policy. You can almost hear the meetings happening there when he comes out and makes these speeches. But polling has showed that immigration policy was a big part of why some people liked him. What are they thinking when they hear this? Are they second-guessing voting for Trump in the first place?
Well, look, I'll just hold up my little Venn diagram. You've got the cultural loss and the economic loss, and where those overlap is immigration, and that's what he hit. Donald Trump defined the election and defined the American moment, and that's where people are with those two senses of loss. But where they overlap is an issue that presents economic loss in that wages get driven down through illegal immigration. And then on the other end is what are we bringing in? And where are they from? And what ties do they have? And so it was a red button issue for Trump. And he even defined it with a wall, concretely, no pun intended, with a wall, and then went so far as to say deportation. Very black and white, very concrete. Everybody said, his supporters, I'm in. Now for him to turn on that, I don't know what the fallout will be, because You could make a strong argument he won the GOP primary with it.
With that,
but I
yeah.
think he's compensating now. If you listen to, even on Thursday, he had a major speech in New Hampshire. He's going to really ratchet up the language against Hillary Clinton so that he's able to offset some of the loss he's going to have on this immigration front.
He's Jay Leeson on AM 580 West Texas Drive. Stick around. We're coming back with a look at the week ahead.